now.
Ta-da! I'm living proof, baby. Miracles happen.
How about that?
You laugh, Alan, but Google's bailed me out of a lot of things. I'm telling you, I had muscle cramps. It said eat walnuts, almonds, and bananas. I've been eating them like crazy. No cramps. Who needs doctors when you got Google?
This is the Rod Pedersen Show.
It is, and it's a Thursday, June 17th. Welcome, everybody, to Canada's daytime sports talk show. Here we are in the bunker, and I say hey to our American friends and Canadian sports fans around the world. It's episode number 508. And a big one today. RP here. Moose Dupont there. And what's with the hoodie today? It's fashionable, but
it's cooler than it was yesterday.
21 degrees Celsius as I drove in here today.
Yeah, so it's comfortable.
It's pretty nice temp.
It's pretty nice. I got the shorts on. But I like the heat, and I can usually handle warmer temperatures. They said in Vegas it was over 40.
45, they said on the broadcast last night.
I'm here for that. When you can see the heat waves in the sky, like I can handle that.
I'd be all about that.
Yeah, I'm into it.
Hey, by the way, my boy Bob Merrier, sober coach to the Stars, is watching. Hey, Bobby. He says, outside was a T-Mobile was a home game for the Bleu Blanc Rouge. Bob, stop it. I told you what Bob was saying the other day on his Instagram story. Sober coach to the Stars out of Montreal.
Yeah.
He says, I feel so alone here at T-Mobile. Guess you're not alone anymore, eh, Bob? By the way, coming up on the program today, Mike Morreale, the CFL great, Ticats great, who's now the commissioner of the CEBL. Their season's tipping off in mere days. And Justin Bourne of Rogers Sportsnet, the son of NHL great Bob Bourne from Netherhill, Saskatchewan. Bob Bourne is. We're going to talk to Justin about these Stanley Cup playoffs and all the rest. Those are the guests, and let's jump right into the pool, Jordan, please, with the quick six show topics. Thank you. Oh, yeah, Bob's waiting for this down in Vegas right now. So Montreal beats Vegas last night 3-2. The series is now tied 1-1. Where do I go from here? I've mentioned that I feel dirty cheering against Carey Price because I love him so much, but I'm still a Vegas Golden Knights fan. And he didn't necessarily have to go into God mode last night. He was great. Some really great saves, right? Those ones where everybody thought they'd scored, that Vegas had scored.
Oh, yeah.
Then they roll back the video. Oh, wait, he got a piece of that. Yeah, it's Carey Price. But he didn't win him the game. Vegas didn't have a good game. They couldn't hit the net. They couldn't score on the power play. I texted my brother. I said, Patches has a hole in his stick. How many times have Patch already whiff or shoot wide?
Oh, I know.
It happens. It happens. So it's 1-1, and they're going back to Montreal in that set. But I'm not nervous. The best team will always win a best-of-7 series. You know that, and Vegas is a better team. So, hey, I'm happy for Montreal. Listen, I love looking at that jersey. The white is just as nice as the red. The beautiful sea. I'm happy for them. But they're not going to win this series. Right now, that's all I have. What do you have on the game last night?
A couple of things. The red eyes.
Whoa, wait a
my
minute.
gosh.
I wanted to say that. Jeff Petrie, I thought he was hurt. All of a sudden, he's playing a 200-foot game as a defenseman. Zing, zing, zing. I'm watching him controlling the game going, I thought he was hurt. I thought he was blind. Can't believe what you read in the media, I guess.
Seriously, like he looks like a Marvel villain, in a superhero movie. It's insane. But you know what? It just seems like there's no ego in that Montreal room, and they've got things sorted out. The leaders, the veterans are there. The young guys doing their thing, and they don't need to score a lot for them to win. They got Carey Price, and he'll do his thing. And he's laughing in a 1-goal game at the end. Like the guy never feels pressure. It feels like he's never looks worried. And for Vegas, I mean, they need somebody other than their defenseman to score. That's just the end of it, right? They need somebody other than the D-men to find the back of the net. And they will, but wasn't happening last night. And tough one. Montreal got their split. We're going to have a series.
Yeah. I had eyes like that in Vegas once, too. So I just kind of wondered. I just wondered if those were Vegas eyes that Jeff Petrie had last night. But I'm just telling you, he looked great. I see Ryan McCarthy is watching in Saratoga, New York. He says, YouTube's down again. I'm joining the Facebook side. Good day, everyone, from sunny and cool Saratoga, New York. Yeah, YouTube's down again. So thank you for informing us of that, Ryan. I appreciate it. Jeff, the Stamps fan, says, rumors of the Montreal Canadiens' death was greatly exaggerated. And I see Jen at the Four Seasons Sports Palace. She says, good morning, crew. Montreal looked better, or was Vegas that bad? Vegas, it wasn't a good game for the Vegas Golden Knights. It happens. It is kind of hard to keep the pedal to the metal the whole way through. So we got a series. And then I got to move on. But I will say this. YouTube's down. We're not on Game Plus TV because we've been bumped by... Oh, we are... Well, Clark's telling me we are on YouTube, so I don't know what the heck. I just sit here and talk. I'm not the tech guy. But anyways, I got all these guys, Darren, I was telling you before the show, writing me going, who at Game Plus can I email about you guys not being on, being bumped for gaming? I'm like, oh, here's Sean McCormick's email. Write him. He's the head of programming at Game Plus TV. All the people that have written me complaining about us not being on Game Plus this week are hockey guys. And dare I say, older hockey guys. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Guys
that aren't going to go to watch on Facebook. They're sitting out in Western Canada, Alberta, BC, and they're just used to watching Game Plus every day on their cable. They're not going to go to Facebook or YouTube, all right? So I thought it was funny that it's the hockey guys that are upset, and that's it. I'll get to your comments first, but this is This is the Warmup, proudly brought to you by eCall Electric, your complete electrical distributor with locations in Regina, Estevan, Swift Current, Yorkton, and Moose Jaw, Saskatchewan. eCall Electric, let's get to work. I'm not going to spend as much time on point 2, which is Tampa Bay at the Islanders tonight. What more needs to be said? 6 p.m. Mountain. Of course, I'll be watching. Series is 1-1. Point 3, Ross Stripling loses it on the mound last night in Buffalo. Blue Jays and Yankees. You saw it. Right? Jays were up 2-1 to the Yankees, and Joe Panic thinks he's going to hot dog it. Bare hand, a little bouncer to third. Whew. Nowhere near Vladdy at first base, and it cues the comeback for the Yankees, and Toronto's got to stop blowing games. I understand what everybody's so mad about. It's turned into a trend, not a fad, what the Blue Jays are doing.
Right.
But Stripling, tripping all over himself in the post-game news conference. He lost his mind on Joe Panic. You saw that.
I did.
Wasn't good. Everybody's ripping Ross Stripling for doing that. I got a little more patience for him than most, I think, in that who hasn't lost it in the heat of the moment? And Ross Stripling does not make a habit of doing that. So, and you remember what the Jays, when they swept a series here a while back, they said, we are family?
Yeah.
Have you ever lost it on a member of your family? What time is it? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. And when you don't mean to and you feel bad after. But
right. That's Ross Stripling. We can still be family.
It reminds me of the Ovechkin on the bench, too, when he did that after the bad overtime goal. Yeah. You want that. Like, you should be upset when guys make mistakes and hold people accountable. It's just unfortunate that it happens publicly, right? You don't want to publicly shame somebody for a mistake, but, he owned it and immediately owned it. But it was a bad look. It was a bad look on him to lose his cool.
Well,
like
no. It's not a good thing, and it can't continue. It's like Mike Smith in goal for the Oilers gunning his defenseman for a turnover or something. It's like you can't do it. I'm not excusing Ross Stripling, but at least can we give the guy a second chance? It was a heat of the moment thing. Yeah, that's our take on that. Point 3, because there's a lot of stuff coming down the pipe. CFL stuff. A lot of things here. AJ Gass stepping down as Edmonton Elks assistant coach yesterday for personal reasons. We wish him well. There's not just a report. Rough Riders GM Jeremy O'Day saying yesterday that the Riders and Bombers are discussing joint practices. And it's got a lot of people saying, what are joint practices? It's a fancy term for scrimmages. That's what it is. And I guess I heard the Stampeders and Elks are planning the same thing. And so what do we think about that? It all seems great, right? You're going to get the geographical rivals together, and they're going to have preseason games against each other because they're not allowed to have preseason games. I hope they can. And I wouldn't think I talked to Dunk this morning, and he's like, I think that's probably going to happen. They're talking about it. It looks like it will happen. But you have to understand sports people, and they're not wrong. You can have BC sitting out there in Montreal, the guys that don't really have cousins, geographical cousins. Let's just say BC. They're going to go, well, we don't have anybody to have a joint practice against. It creates a significant competitive imbalance. I don't have a problem with it, but this is just how sports people look at things. So I just wonder if Randy Ambrosie will put his fist down and say, everybody has joint practices or nobody has joint practices. I don't know if he'll do that or not. And secondly, from the health authority people from province to province to province, it's like we already said you can't have preseason games, so why are you doing this? But I wouldn't think the teams are talking about it if they didn't think they could do it. I'm all for it. I don't know if it's going to be in Mosaic Stadium or at the U of R field or at Leibel Field where the minor football teams play. But I'm just examining it from all angles. They're going to try and find some loophole to be able to play, to get ahead and get a look at their guys. We'll see if it happens.
Look, they do this in the NFL every year.
Yes.
Every single year they do this in the National Football League.
Except last year, I don't think they did.
Right. Yeah. Okay. Okay. Right in the middle of the pandemic. But they do this all the time. And I know for the Titans, I think they're going to have joint practices with the Bucs again, Vrabel and Brady. They have fun. And they go do their own thing. They take half the field and they do their own thing. And then they come together to do some drills. And they, the Riders offense will go against the Winnipeg defense in one-on-ones and in some other drills. And there won't be any contact. It's not going to look like a preseason game. It's not going to look like a preseason game. They're not going to roll out there and just do a full scrimmage, but they're going to do their O&D drills together. They're going to do their Skelly drills and all those different things that they do against each other. And it just gives you an opportunity to hit somebody else if they're in contact. There might not even be contact in these joint practices, but just an opportunity to have some, they call them live bullets, but to have these sessions against somebody different and simulate some of that game atmosphere and what else is out there. I think it's fine. I think, BC's going to have to figure it out. They are. Not every NFL team does joint practices, and they seem to turn out okay.
I see people writing in, and I get it. Okay, I misspoke. It's happened a couple times before. Tim Capper, watching on Facebook, says, Rod, Montreal and Ottawa can team up for a scrimmage. I forgot for a second how many teams there were in the CFL. So there's one odd team that won't be able to get their joint scrimmage in with anybody, and you just named them the BC Lions. So is Randy Ambrosie going to go, deal with it, Rick Lawlisher and Rick Campbell? Maybe he will.
Yeah.
But they're not going to be happy about it. And then another one here. Oh, by the way, the Prairie Mobile text line is open, 306-840-8777. And the last I looked, it's on a charger. So we'll get that in the break. Prairie Mobile is your authorized SaskTel mobility dealer. Vaccinations are a thing. I'm mentioning all the hurdles that the CFL faces right now. I don't think they're big, but there are still hurdles, and one is the vaccinations. There are some players that have told me not only do they not have one shot, they don't want to get a shot. And there's some conjecture in the NFL going on with guys that don't want to be vaccinated versus the guys that have one shot or two shots, and how your life's going to be different. It would seem that we will be able to roll around bulletproof when we have our second shot. I think. I mean, the border's still closed. I don't really know. But there's a difference in the way life's going to go for CFL players, whether you're vaccinated or not, I guess is my point. They're not out of the woods here. And what did the premier of this province say yesterday? Did you see what he said? He said, we're not telling you to get a shot. If you want to gamble, go ahead with not getting a vaccination, but the prize isn't what you think. That's what Scott Moe said yesterday. So I'm just saying, I've had players outright tell me they're not getting a shot for whatever their various reasons are. That can't be good for the CFL, I wouldn't think.
No, and they'll have to make a decision on what that means, right? Because you talk about, and that's part of getting health officials to agree to a season and to letting fans in the building is that, look at, our players are safe, or we're up to 70% vaccinated. Maybe that'll include, 70% of your team must be vaccinated. I don't know. Maybe they'll say, look at, if you're not double vaccinated, you can't travel, or you can't. I don't really know where it's going to go, but it's not great, and they'll have some decisions to make on what they do with it.
I don't know how the topic came up here, but I see Neil Shuchuk watching in Whitecourt, Alberta, says it's only a matter of time before vaccinations are part of a player's contract. I could see it. Dean Tix, watching in Green Bay, Wisconsin, says the paper tickets are gone for Packers games now, too. E-tickets only. I see Jacques Dupuis in Ottawa says no more paper tickets, only on your phone now. So that's too bad. We all kind of I liked having that paper ticket, so they're gone. In my mind, something just jogged in my head. It's, what if I don't have a phone? There are those people, right? And I remember being in Anaheim hosting a sports trip down there, and after a Ducks-Oilers game, all the guys that were on my sports trip that I was hosting got Ubers and went back to the hotel. It was like 2-mile walk from the Honda Center to the hotel. And so they Ubered it, and then there was some people that had to walk. And one of the guys on my trip was older, and he said to me the next morning, he's like, oh, I don't have a cell phone. I don't have Uber, and there was no cabs there. And I'm like, it sounds like a you problem.
It does.
Sorry.
It does.
Get a smartphone, get Uber. Get a smartphone, get your tickets. Like you got to get with it. Don't get vaccinated, but then don't be upset when you can't play CFL football.
Well, and here's an opportunity to upsell at the Rider store, the Bomber store, or the Ticats store. Is you'll start selling $100 e-readers or like little simple web devices where you can just go to your email and pull up your ticket. But yeah, that's part of it. And you know what? The biggest thing I'm worried about is like my phone dying because I'm on that thing taking photos and videos of the pregame festivities, and I can see the phone going down to 1% and being worrying about getting in.
That sounds like a you problem.
It does, doesn't it? They'll be selling chargers like crazy too.
Exactly. We'll be back with Mike Morreale, the commissioner of the Canadian Elite Basketball League. The warm-up's brought to you by eCall Electric. And you're watching on Game Plus TV, YouTube, and Facebook Live, and 24-hour sports radio for Suds full-service car wash at rodpedersen.com.
You're watching Rod Pedersen on demand. For more of The Rod Pedersen Show, visit rodpedersen.com or follow Rod Pedersen on social media.